Yes, sirree. Here we go on a Wednesday morning, middle of the week. Yes, my dear friends, a very good morning to you, and thank you for joining me, George Grant, for today's edition of Gudday Grenada. Today is what, the 20th day of the month? Not just the 20th day of the month. For those of you who run a little business here and there, value-added tax. Yeah, man. Remember, pay your VAT. Make your contribution towards nation building. Hazel is first this morning, and we got an interesting program this morning. I'll tell you what, the reason why I say interesting, they're all interesting, but this morning, for the past few weeks, you've heard us talk about a good cricket aficionado, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Winthrop Wiltshire, Sharon's husband, big cricket fan. And Ray has been juking him, you know, teasing him about the West Indies performance. And we decided we would try and get Winty in here to talk with us one of these days. And today happens to be that day. Now, Ray is going to be joining him. Ray is not going to be in here. Winty is going to be sitting right in here with us. But Ray is going to be joining us electronically by Zoom. So that's going to be the last half hour of this morning's program, all right? Well, before we get to that, though, we got three other things to take care of. Three videos, actually. The first one is captioned, "Yes, miracles still do happen." And we're going to tell you a short story this morning about a gentleman by the name of Mark Figaro Felix. I think you'll find this very moving, because, I mean, if there ever was a miracle, this had to be it. Watch the story and realize that, you know, if this gentleman could survive what he did, why can't you? Then, I'm sure that everybody's very acutely aware of all the protests that have been taking place in Dominica in the run-up to their upcoming elections. Well, we got some video footage of that, and we're going to share that with you this morning as well. In addition to that, yes, sirree, you do have the national report this morning. So that's what we got coming your way. And then, of course, at the bottom of the hour, Winty and Rara, Winty and Rara. Yeah, we'll get to them at the bottom of the hour. So I mentioned that Hazel is first this morning, right a second. He says he hope all is well. Yeah, all is well here, man. We're thankful for life. Oswin, good morning, Oswin. Arthur Langine saying good morning from Brooklyn. Sawandi Fabio Sam is there as well, and so is Claude Pudna. Folks, as always, such a pleasure to see all of you folks there. Just let me turn on the monitor here and make sure, yeah, everything's hunky-dory. So everything is hunky-dory. Now, let's get down to what we're going to be dealing with this morning. As a very brief introduction to this piece that you're about to watch, I will simply say this. The prognosis of a doctor does not have to be a death sentence. Now, what is Grant talking about this morning? Well, rather than me talk about it, take a look.
My name is Jeremy Arnold, and this is my story. I am one of 13 siblings. My mother was 5 months pregnant with the 10th child at that time when she was taken into a premature labor. She was taken to the hospital where she met the doctors who knew her well. She would have been there every year, given the age range that we have. Upon reaching the hospital, the doctors realized that she was about to give birth. She was only 5 months pregnant, and the doctors delivered the 5-month-old fetus and threw it in the garbage can. Because at that time, technology wasn't at a place where it is now currently. The doctors, they wouldn't seek to waste time and energy on something that have no life. And my mother was then discharged from the hospital. She was sent home to attend to her 9 other kids. Now bear in mind, it was her alone. Our father was not there, he was absent. And they discharged her from the hospital, and she would return back to the garbage can, where she looked and she found her fetus, her baby. And she took a rag from her pocket and she picked up her baby, put it in the rag and put it in her pocket, and she went home. Upon reaching home, greeted by 9 hungry kids, she took the dress that she had on off and she placed it in a tub of water that was there. She went inside, she attended to everybody, and somebody asked, "Mommy, what about the baby?" And then she remembered that the baby is in the rag, but the rag is in the pocket of the dress, and the dress is in the tub of water. And she ran outside, searched among the clothes in the water, and she found there her baby still alive. And she said she heard a voice saying, "Go and stand with it out in the sun." 8 days after, however, the fetus took very ill, and she had to take the fetus right back to the hospital. And the doctor was amazed that after 8 days the fetus is still alive, and they discovered that the fetus blood was poisoned and the fetus was in need of a blood transfusion. However, they told my mother that there is no blood in the blood bank. They had only one blood, and it is the blood of a white man that was not yet screened. My mother, with the faith that she has and the courage that she has, she said, "Give it to him, that's the blood that belongs to him." Trying to appease this lady, the doctors knew well that this is a hopeless case, but to get rid of this lady, they did the blood transfusion. And after they would have finished, they finished about 11:30 the night. The doctors went to my mother and said, "You could go home, because at midnight, half an hour from this time, that fetus will die," because we did not follow protocol. We did not do what was necessary to be done for this to have been a success. 1 hour, however, after midnight, when they went to check upon the fetus, my mother told me from down the hall they could have heard a heart beating very loud, and it was the heart of the fetus. 1 year later, the fetus was still alive, but the fetus was very ill. So my mother had to take the fetus back to the hospital, where she met there the same doctor and the same staff. Now somebody might ask, why didn't she go to another hospital? Well, the truth is, she was extremely poor, and she couldn't afford going to another hospital. But more than that, at hindsight now, I see that it was God working for the life of the fetus. And God would have this doctor and these staff to witness the miracle working power of him. The doctor then was amazed that after 1 year the fetus is still alive. At this time, you would think that the doctor would recognize that there is a supernatural power working behind the scenes. But the doctor looked at my mother and said, "Don't get too attached. At the age of 2, he will be totally crippled. At the age of 3, he will be totally blind. At the age of 4, he will be a complete retard. And at the age of 5, he will die." I want to say that man can appoint, but God ultimately disappoints. At the age of 6, the fetus went into primary school, not with a cane, because he wasn't blind, not in a wheelchair, because he wasn't crippled, and he wasn't placed in a special section because he wasn't a retard. As a matter of fact, the fetus aced every subject in primary school, went on to high school and to junior college. And I want to tell you that that fetus happens to be me today. Currently, I am in Jamaica studying at the Northern Caribbean University. Maybe you might have been rejected or thrown in a can like I was. But I want you to know that all is not lost, that God is behind the scenes of your life, fighting for you.
And so, friends, we're off and running on this beautiful Wednesday morning here on the Spice Isle. So now, let's see here, coming up on 11 minutes after the hour, we've now been joined by Fitzroy Adams and Lydia James. Joan Wellington as well is with us, and hey, John's also with us. Ernesto was reminding us that it's budget day, yes sirree, in about 49 minutes or so from now, the presentation should begin. And he's saying here that on the Beyond the Headlines program, he heard that the estimate for this budget will be $3 billion, meaning that there's more and more taxes on taxpayers' backs once more. So says Ernesto. Now, folks, I mentioned to you that things have been pretty tough for people of Dominica. Things are really not looking that rosy for Roosie, if you will, just to play on words there, as that country counts down to its December 6th election. I'm sure that you've been hearing much about the unrest on the island, so I won't get into any details of that this morning, but I'd like to show you some video of what has been happening there over the past couple of days. Take a look at this.
Yeah, only believe it's joke. Only believe, if you only believe it's joke thing happening in there now. Yeah, lay now. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Pilo, now what you can throw this right there. Set it back up! Set it back up! Set it back up! Okay, so oh shit, take it easy, my partner. Okay, so oh shit. People, I went on a ride this morning, man, and the road is blocked. Smoke, fire, everything.
Wow. Wow. Saw that? Oh my gosh, my heart goes out to the people of Dominica, and they still have a few days to go. Let's see, 10 and 6, 16 days, so just a little over 2 weeks to go before the next election. I certainly hope that things take a different turn. I think those of us in the rest of the Caribbean, in light of what's been going on throughout the region, I think we all need to be a little bit concerned and turn to God and ask us to deliver us from this nonsense. All right, getting back here to Facebook for just a minute. A little while ago I mentioned that today is budget day. Well, John here says, budget day, oh dear. I'm washing my hair today, so I'll have to miss it. John, you are sick. You are sick. Anyhow, Anthony DeRiggs is saying good morning to you guys. Maureen Graves is referring to the piece we just saw before the protest in Dominica about that youngster who was just amazingly alive today. And she was saying, oh my, this is an awesome testimony. And what an amazing mother. Thank God for her. God has a mighty plan for this young man's life, obviously. Mags, I see that you're chiming in. Good morning, good to see you. And regarding Dominica, John says, this is what happens when you push the people back into a corner. Yeah, John, yeah. Ryan says, oh my gosh, Dominica is imploding. God save the people. Kipling saying good morning. And Arthur Langine is saying, may God bless the true people of Dominica who are fighting that evil government. All right, folks, I'll tell you what, 16 minutes after the hour. I'm not going to put him on yet, but I just want you to take a look so that you see that he is here. One of the two he's. Oh, look. The other he is here too. There he is. There's the other he. The first he, this one, is Dr. Winthrop Wilshire. And he is probably one of the greatest cricket aficionados I know. And I just can't wait for him to slug it off with this other cricket aficionado here, Mr. Ray Roberts. They're going to have a go at it this morning starting at the bottom of the hour. But right now, let's take a little break and then we'll come on back.
Christmas safety tips. Always unplug Christmas tree lights before leaving home or going to sleep. Check your tree lights and outdoor lights for damage each year before you use them. Discard lights with frayed wires, loose connections, and cracked sockets. Do not overload your wall outlets or extension cords. Remind children never to touch lights or outlets. Select lights appropriately. Never use indoor lights outside or vice versa. Happy holidays from Grenlec.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Because your vehicle is a necessity, being roadworthy is critical. Hubbard's Motor Department introduces its new tire and battery sales and service outlet located at Building Supplies Compound in Grand Dams, close to the Sugar Mill Roundabout. Available are a wide range of competitively priced tires, maintenance-free batteries, oils and lubricants. Keeping in mind your busy schedule, this outlet is equipped to provide you with fast and reliable service. Simply drive in and you'll be delighted with your service experience. For more information, contact 440-2087. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Work goes according to plan on St. Patrick Road network upgrade. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the National Report for Tuesday, November 19th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Work is progressing well on the Government of Grenada and the OPEC Fund for International Development St. Patrick Road Upgrade Project. The St. Patrick project is part of 24 other projects that were approved by Cabinet in April 2019. The construction of culverts, drains, retaining walls, and concrete reinforced sidewalks has been awarded to the Caribbean Consolidated Contractors Limited (CCC). On Monday, CCC's Site Superintendent Joseph Macklin updated GIS on the progress of work at 2 retaining walls and a box culvert in an area called the Wharf in Hermitage, St. Patrick. He said the work to construct the retaining walls was contracted out to a local construction company.
What we are doing here is that we are doing some road expansion. They had some slide movement existing before with a guardrail where it was very hazard for the traffic. So we are doing some road expansion. We're shifting the alignment of the road to the right-hand side. In the process of doing that, commencing that work, as I told you before, we are tackling all the major construction part in terms of all the massive work we're supposed to do. So this is another retaining wall, and this wall is sub out to Mr. Bullen, another subcontractor who is doing this work. Right now, at the stage of this work, it is about 25%. Excavation has done, blinding has poured, and we're getting ready for the steel formation.
Madeline says construction of the box drain has been retained by his company, Consolidated Contractors Company Limited.
We are commencing and constructing another massive box culvert. All right? This box culvert normally has to facilitate because there was overflow of water throughout the existing period before. So we're tackling this box culvert down there is done by our personnel, CCC personnel. We have not subbed up this one. The foreman is a guy by the name of Peter Lawrence, who normally works with the company. He's been working in the company for throughout the years. And he's qualified in doing that because throughout the different projects, he normally do this part of the construction. So he has locals with him who is doing the construction. And the dimension of that bridge is like 8.4 plus 8.2 in terms of width and height. It will facilitate a sidewalk plus a head wall in all the aspects of the box culvert.
The government negotiating team has signed yet another agreement for salary increases, this time with the Grenada Manual, Maritime and Intellectual Workers Union, the GMMIWU. It follows closely on the heels of Monday's signing with members of the Prison Welfare Association. Agreements with the GMMIWU, Police Welfare Association and Prison Officers Welfare Association were brokered during talks late Thursday and early Friday morning. All public officers represented by the unions and staff associations, which have concluded negotiations, will benefit from annual increases of 4% for each of the years covered in the new collective labor agreement. The 12% increase over 3 years is the largest settlement for public sector employees in the last 20 years. The overall cost of the settlement is $43.5 million, which means government will have to undertake extensive reallocation to fund the agreed wage increases.
Ours has been a long history of cordial negotiations, and this time it has been no different. And we can rest assured that the union has advocated and continues to advocate very strongly for the benefits for its members.
That's Cabinet Secretary Mrs. Beryl Isaac. The union's General Secretary Oscar Williams says it is a good day for the union.
This contract is a very important contract because it not only covers wage increase, it also covers certain outstanding benefits. Example, the medical test for cooks. Also, we're looking at contract workers, and also the different category of cooks will be looked at with the Ministry of Education. So their benefits the cooks will benefit. And also those workers on the estate, we know they will be very happy with this increase. So we want to thank the government negotiation team for the cordial efforts.
This is the National Report. More news after the break. With Grenada poised to record its 7th consecutive year of robust growth in 2019, Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, will present this country's 2020 budget on Wednesday, November 20th. outlining his government's plans to further drive the economy and spur investor confidence. Under the theme Towards Vision 2035, empowering our communities, growing our economy, protecting our environment, strengthening our institutions, Dr. Michel will lay out plans to forge ahead with a shared goal for the future, envisioned in the country's 2020 to 2035 National Sustainable Development Plan. The 2020 budget will be broadcast live on GIS Channel 22 and the GIS Facebook page. Beginning at 9 a.m., we will look at some of the government's major projects over the past year. From 9:30 a.m., there will be live commentary, and from 10 a.m., presentation of the 2020 fiscal package. Tune in to the Government Information Service and other stations for the live broadcast of the 2020 budget, Wednesday, November 20th, 2019. Continuing the news, Grenada welcomed more than 3,000 passengers to its shores over the weekend during the inaugural call of the Mindshift from the German cruise line. Tourism Minister, the Honorable Clarisse Modeste, CEO of the Grenada Tourism Authority, representatives of the Ports Authority, the Royal Grenada Police Force, and Huggins were all present to welcome the crew and visitors. Minister Modeste said the visit is significant for Grenada. For months, Grenada has been training tour operators and tour guides and key personnel to enhance visitor experience. Investment has also been made in foreign language training and marketing the island as a destination of choice for visitors.
It means that a new ship, a ship that has never called into our port, is calling to our port. And for us, it's significant because it means that people are knowing more about Grenada, people are liking Grenada, and new people, their interests have been sparked to come to Grenada. So it tells us that we're doing something good in Grenada. And it also tells us that we have to do enough to ensure that we keep those people coming. When a ship does an inaugural, we want to ensure that it doesn't remain an inaugural full stop, but that there is continuity in the visits, in the calls, and in the persons who come.
The Grenada delegation was given a tour of the ship following a welcome reception. Grenadians continue to take advantage of short-term courses in China that lend to the development of their respective workplaces. Training has been organized by the People's Republic of China with support from the Department of Public Administration, DPA. More in this report by Mina Booker.
The Grenadians will spend about 3 weeks participating in 2 courses, that being processing and preservation techniques for agricultural products and private security and production. This year, a total of 7 bilateral programs were offered to the government of Grenada. To date, 110 Grenadians or 5 delegations journeyed to China, participating in courses which included vocational education management, drug and criminal investigation, anti-corruption and anti-money laundering, along with poverty reduction strategies.
Since 2005, over 1,000 Grenadians have attended seminars or short courses offered by the Chinese government. I believe that all the seminars and training courses will be helpful in enhancing the human resources capacity building of Grenada, and also promote the economic and the financial, economic and the social development of Grenada. So to the fellow participants, I hope your trip to China will not only enhance your professional knowledge, but also deepen your understanding about China. And so eventually to further promote our bilateral friendship.
That's Mr. Zhao Bote, Director of Bilateral Affairs at the Chinese Embassy. Mrs. Alana Felix Roberts, Human Resource Management Officer in the Department of Public Administration, urged the 2 last cohorts to make good on the investment.
So I encourage you to make the very best of the experience, make the experience memorable, participate, be engaging, be interactive in your sessions. And while you are going out there to learn, we also want you to acquire new skills, and so in the various areas that you're going to pursue training, but we also encourage you to enjoy the uniquely rich culture of China.
Permanent Secretary within the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Mr. Elvis Maureen, implored on the participants, which include staff of the ministry, agri-processors and farmers, to be trendsetters and make the best use of their training.
Embrace the opportunity and do your best. And be mindful that whatever field you go, whether it's a security field or agriculture, he would come back here and serve Grenada with distinction.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Michael Francois says that the RGPF is happy that a number of their officers have been given the opportunity.
Training is critical in the fight, and any opportunity offered, we should make good use of it. I want to encourage every participant to make good use of this opportunity. You were chosen for this training, and so you are expected to acquire as much knowledge and skills as you can during your stay in China.
Diplomatic relations between the People's Republic of China and Grenada were established back in 1985. Reporting, I am Mina Buka.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
Alrighty, folks, there you have it. That was last night's edition of the National Report, taking out time now to 8:32, 28 minutes away. 9:32. It's 28 minutes away from 10 o'clock, budget day here in St. George. And we're not going to the budget this morning. We're talking cricket this morning, man. I got two of these aficionados here, Mr. Ray Roberts and Dr. Winthrop Wiltshire. We're going to get to them just after we take this little break here, okay?
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
Well, you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Alec, we're starting work on the house soon, and I'll need your help.
Sure. What do you need?
I got a service application checklist from Grenlec's website.
This looks easy.
It is. We need a new service.
That's option A.
So wherever there's an A, that's something we must do in order to get the service.
So the other things without an A don't apply?
Exactly. The checklist shows us what documents to bring, the fees, and how soon we'll get the service.
So that you realize for all services, we must complete the right application form, have a valid photo ID, and a certificate from the electrical inspector?
That's right. The electrician will help us apply to the ministry for a certificate of inspection. So we'll use the checklist to get everything we need before going to Grenada. This will make the process smooth and save lots of time.
Okay, might as well get started.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Well, I see here that John is saying, bring on the opening batsman. I don't know whether he was a bowler, batsman, fielder, or what, or the water guy, but take a look, man. Three of us, but two of them right in the middle there. Dr. Winthrop Wiltshire, and he's a professor down at the university, St. George's University. And then way off to the right there is Mr. Ray Roberts. I got Ray on the beach this morning and said, hey, Ray, listen, man, Winty is coming in this morning. Are you going to be able to join us? Yeah, man, I'll be home by 9:15. Yeah. And there he is. Good morning, Ray. How are you?
Morning to you and morning to Dr. Winthrop and all the listeners that you have on board with you this morning.
You know, Winty, I'm surprised to see that you have such a pleasant smile on your face this morning, knowing this man here is going to be throwing some hard pitches at you.
He's not going to throw any hard pitches. He's a West Indian at heart, and he's, you know, rooting for the team like me.
Okay. Agreed, Ray?
Most definitely.
So who's going to throw the first? Who won the toss this morning?
Well, the game begins tonight local time because today is the 20th. The game starts the 21st, I think. So it's going to be maybe around what? Maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, Grenada time, I think. New Zealand and England are going to be 5 this afternoon because New Zealand, I think it's about what? 12, 15 hours ahead, whatever.
Okay.
But we are going to be, I suppose, Dr. Winthrop, be all interested in seeing what West Indies can do against Afghanistan in this first test. The ODI and T20s, they were shared. West Indies won the ODI 3-0, Afghanistan the T20s 2-1. So I guess the winner take all in this contest.
I want to start by talking about what expectations we had for this new team, this new look team with Pollard as captain. We have not won a one-day international series in many years. And the question was, can Pollard, with his beautiful, excellent, proactive strategy, change the dynamics? And indeed, we won, as Ray just said, 3-0 in the ODI. We beat Afghanistan 3-0. Now, do not underestimate Afghanistan. Afghanistan has the best team of spin bowlers of any country. Okay? They have they play 3 and 4. They have Nabi, they have Rashid, you know, they have Mujib. And our batsmen have problems with good spin, right? But we were able to win that. Come into the, so that was a plus. And we saw Pollard being dynamic and proactive. He didn't make many runs, but his management of the team on the field was distinctly different from how the previous captain used to function in a kind of laid-back way, waiting for things to happen. And this has been a big difference, a big change.
Agreed, Ray?
Well, I would say that he is maybe could be over-enthusiastic. You see it in his behavior, which you didn't see in the last captain, that is Holder. He's engaging his players constantly, and he seems to be always thinking whether the idea works or not. He's creative. So I would share some of the perspectives that his demeanor on the field certainly creates, you know, an interest. I'm not too sure that Afghanistan, I agree they have some good spinners, but I'm not too sure that I would want to make a judgment call on whether this is a new era in West Indies cricket, because I'm not too sure Pollard can make the team himself. So I like what I saw about his captaincy. But I think Dr. Winchop will remember a guy named Mike Brady, who captained England. Was perhaps a good captain, but he couldn't make the team. So he was playing as captain rather than a player. And I still believe we have that challenge with this current team.
It's interesting, Ray, that you mentioned Brady, because as soon as you started to talk about that, I thought of Brady. Brady was an engineer by profession, and he was a strategist. You need a captain who can motivate the team, who can have the team has a cohesive unit. You don't need a captain. If you remember, Brian Lara was a brilliant batsman, best in the world in his time. But Brian was a poor captain. He couldn't motivate his team. It was every man for himself. Pollard sometimes, I know some people might disagree with that. Pollard sometimes a little too aggressive. He would sometimes taunt the opposition, for instance, you know. But we need this Skerrett. If you remember, Pollard hasn't played a one-day game since 2014, you know. He was not a team. He definitely earns his place on the one-day team. He definitely earns his place, and on the he can't make the test team. He earns his place on the one-day team, and he earns his place on the T20 team. There's no question about that in my mind. In addition to being a proactive captain.
Ray?
Well, Doc, you are right, but as I say always in sports, you have to look at whether or not when you pick that 11 cricketers, you just don't have a person who is there, perhaps the important role of captain he plays. Maybe that could be singled out as the most important role in the team. But you look at this ODI team to start with. I would say the credit he scored he scored the most runs in the three-match contest, and he was often supported by Puran or other batsmen. But it was not perhaps as glittering as we would want to see it. I mean, the scores were small. Both Afghanistan and West Indies couldn't get to 300 runs. Today's ODI, if you can't score 300, you really don't have much of a chance, unless you're playing Ireland or one of those minor teams. So I would hope that Pollard, for the sake of the game and for the sake of West Indies cricket going forward, could perhaps produce his best cricket now that he's, I think, 32, if he can lift his game, because he has the fervor, the enthusiasm you would want to see in a captain. But I'm not too sure that he's that equipped when you come up against Australia and New Zealand and England, South Africa. I mean, they produce scores 320, 350. Our batting not capable of doing that thus far. I'm not seeing it, actually. And history will show that it's very rare that we get into the 300s. So, Doc, I would agree that the new energy is great for the game, but I'm still worried about the quality of what we are producing as top batsmen and even the bowlers.
I would agree with some of what you say, because what we have found in terms of our batsmen, let me mention the question of Shai Hope. It's clear that Shai Hope is a quality batsman in any format, because in the last T20 game, they don't normally play Shai Hope in the T20s because Puran was not there. In the last T20 game, he was able to bat at more than run a ball, to show them that he can, he has class and quality. One of the problems with all the games, if you notice, when we won, is because Shai Hope and probably one other batsman made runs. At one time it was Chase, at another time it was Puran. We need everybody to perform, not only Pollard in terms of batsmanship. And Ray, I'm sure you might agree with me, our batsmen showed a total weakness in playing spin. Even Lewis, who made a beautiful 66 with 6 sixes, in the first T20. He was playing back to Mujib and Brandon King, when they should be playing forward. Brandon King, who was such a star in our CPL, wasn't able to make a note. Hopefully, with Simmons in charge of the coach of the team again, hopefully these guys can learn, because they have some serious technical flaws. You have Hetmeyer still giving away his wicket. I tell Sharon, I say, he must talk to Shanda Paul and find out how Shanda Paul did it. Shanda Paul never gave away his wicket. You have to get Shanda Paul out. But Hetmeyer invariably would be totally on top of his game and then put the ball in there and give away his wicket. No. So if 4 of our batsmen perform, we're going to win matches. We can't have only 1 or 2.
All right, I want to bring social media friends in here. Ryan says, we need an Imran Khan of West Indies cricket.
Imran Khans are hard to find. They're few and far between. Imran Khan was an excellent batsman, an excellent bowler, and an excellent captain. Those come once in a lifetime.
All right. So that's out of the question for the time being. John says, India's captain does just the same on the field, gentlemen.
That's true, Cody.
Well, I think if you look a lot more at the games that were played so far, review the games, we have to give Pollard a lot of credit. I mean, he's not Holder stands in a corner and he's basically not noticed. You can't fail to recognize who is the leader of this pack. He may not be a Viv Richards, who was very much involved in every aspect of the game, but I like his demeanor on the field. He is every moment indicating something to someone to ensure that you are on your P's and Q's. So he brings to me, as far as I'm concerned, I would call it a medication that we need in West Indies cricket. We need a leader who is very much participating in the 6 hours of a test match, the 3 hours of a T20, or the 5 hours of a ODI. And he's a big man, he's a powerful man, so maybe he has the energy. But I like that kind of leadership. Just as the Aussies. The Aussies are never dull. I mean, Warner is maybe troublesome, but he's involved. I mean, Smith is engaging. I think Holder, for me, is a wonderful person, I'm sure about that, but I would like to see a lot more spirit in his movements on the field.
Holder is still the test captain. But Rome was not built in a day, so I say give Pollard a chance. The next big, when I say big, I mean really big, event is the T20 World Cup in Australia next year, November. But in the meantime, we have a T20 series and a one-day series against India, starting on the 6th of December. And we have to look at that, see how they function there. India does not have the kind of spinners that Afghanistan has. So I'm hopeful that our batsmen function much better than they did with Afghanistan.
Ray?
But Doc, it should be noted too that playing in India is never an easy place, because it's a lot of traveling, first of all. I mean, it's a vast country. It takes you, 25 minutes, 35 minutes from Grenada to Trinidad or Barbados. I mean, India is vast. The conditions are completely different to what we have in the Caribbean. And as you notice in India, their people turn out in huge numbers to look at T20 cricket in particular. So I would say West Indies could see this as a process of preparing themselves for Australia next year. Australia's condition is more like the Caribbean in terms of the wickets. I don't expect us to beat India in the T20. I think India is really a towering strength in cricket. And I don't see us having the bowlers nor the batsmen to compete against, this quality Indian bowling. But I believe that what is important is that we can perform with merit, and I'm sure next year we could be a team of standing in the World Cup in Australia. In fact, we are the defending champions, and we won it the last time, lowly rated. So really and truly, the day of the event, the day of the competition is what counts, and not, you know, the practice matches, which obviously will tell some story about who you are.
Well, you know, I am an optimist, so I expect to beat India in the T20s. I don't expect to beat India in the ODIs, all right? Which is a different kettle of fish. In the longer formats, we have more difficulty. We are quite capable of matching India in the T20 games. I have no doubt about that.
Right?
It is different formats, but Kohli is good in every format. Rahane is good in every format. Sammy, the fast bowler, is great in every format. I mean, don't talk about Pandey. He can do anything in all three formats of the game. You look at West Indies, I don't know we have that kind of sustaining power. We would hope that Lewis can smash his way to glory and Pollard can do the same. They have the capacity. But really and truly, all I would want to see in that three-match series against India is that West Indies demonstrate they can take a match to the Indians and run them very close. I think in Australia, that would be an event that would sort of fit the Caribbean mode of cricket. I don't think India with a spinning wicket, the wickets that keep low, I'm not too sure our players have acclimatized enough to really adjust to India and beat India there. But I would hope, as an optimist like Dr. Winchell, we can do well.
But you know, I was always concerned when West Indies talk about, the commentators talk about, we don't have any specialist spinners. Chase is bowling is as good a spin bowler as any of the others. And we have Walsh, a young guy Walsh, and Perry. They are doing much better than, okay, we used to depend on Narayan, but clearly Narayan is not interested in West Indies cricket, he's interested in himself. All right, that's my take. So I expect our spinners to hold their own, and I also expect that we will do creditably in the batting compartment. So I am thinking that we are going to give India a real run for their money, not only in the T20 format, but also in the ODI games.
Doc, I don't know that Walsh and these fellas here are capable of even coming close to Ashwin and Chawla and these guys here. I mean, Ashwin has one of the most astonishing records in all format of the game. I don't know that I would even want to consider Hayden Walsh. Or even Chase has been close. Yes, they take wickets here and there, but Ashwin, India really is a magnificent team. I mean, I don't know that we right now anywhere close to India in any aspect of the game. Whether it's bowling, I mean, their four fast bowlers, except what? Their four fast bowlers, in my opinion, are way superior to what the West Indies got. Gabriel may be faster, but a lot of his balls really not really wicket takers. The same thing applies to their batting. I mean, their first five batters are really perhaps, I mean, they're playing against Bangladesh now. And there's a new player, Megwal, 250, now on the scene. So you just have to look at the Indians' prolific rate of scoring in all formats of the game. And luck has to be with this West Indies team right now, to me, for them to, I call it a huge upset if they were to beat India. Well, I agree with you, Afghanistan not to be taken lightly, but I don't know, they ranked they ranked more at the bottom like West Indies. India is at the top.
I can't argue with that. India is definitely at the top. By the way, India is picking their team tomorrow, okay? And there's a speculation that Sharma will be rested and not play in the ODIs. If we do well against India, it's a feather in our cap. There's no question that's a big gap between India and ourselves. But I am still banking on the fact that we have a new skipper in Pollard to make a difference. I am still banking on that. By the way, having said that, it's clear to everybody now that although Darren Bravo was not informed, it's clear to everybody that it was an error to drop him in terms of bringing in Brandon King. And class is class. Form is temporary. All right? so I would always have Darren Bravo on my team.
There's a question here for you guys, both of you. It comes from John. John wants to know, what do you gents think of bringing the younger players into the front line?
Well, the younger players are being brought into the front line. People like Hetmeyer and Puran and Walsh and, you know. I don't know who he is specifically thinking about. Could he give us some names? Because I think this new selection committee is in fact headed by Harper, in fact experimenting with younger players.
All right, gentlemen, I want to ask a little question here. We're running out of time, but just before we go, I want to ask you guys this. 2020, next year, is there going to be any opportunity for us Grenadians to see some international level cricket locally, you know, rather than just watching it on the tube? Any teams coming here in 2020 as far as you know?
Ireland will be here in January, in the Caribbean in January. In fact, they arrive on the 4th of January. They will play 2 one-day internationals in Grenada. I think it's the last week in January. And South Africa comes to the Caribbean in August. Now in July, and somebody else, I think it's New Zealand, comes a little earlier. So we have 3 international teams in the Caribbean: Ireland, New Zealand, and South Africa. Ireland will come to Grenada. South Africa, I know they can play 2 matches in Dominica. And I can't remember the rest of the fixtures. But the Caribbean has 3 international teams to visit here in 2020.
So we may at least see... We may at least see Ireland, which is better than nothing.
Yeah, but Grenada hasn't been supporting West Indies cricket. When the teams come here, you know, if you don't give away a lot of tickets, you don't have many people in the stadium.
And what does that say, Winty? Is it that we just aren't a cricketing nation?
Well, you don't have many Grenadians on the team, and I suspect, well, with our Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister being a cricket aficionado like ourselves, he promotes it, but Barbados and Trinidad, they have a natural audience for cricket, you know.
All right. Okay, so thanks a lot, Ray. Good to see you, bro.
Good to hear you, man.
And he went to
Good to hear you. All the best, Doc.
Same to you, brother.
He went to the beach again. By the way, Winty, have you planned? We just found out who's coming to the Caribbean, but have you planned your 2020 itinerary yet?
Of course, I plan to go on cricket.
Yeah. Where are you going?
No, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not going to Australia.
Okay. All righty, folks. Dr. Winthrop Wilshire and Mr. Ray Roberts. When are you getting your doctorate, Ray?
No, Doc has enough for me and him.
Make sure it's legitimate, like this Doc, okay?
But that's why I'm keeping close to Doc.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Well, my dear friends, that's going to pull the curtain down on today's edition of Good Day, Grenada. But as always, we leave you with a parting word from the Holy Scriptures. And today's word comes to you from the book of Psalms. Psalm 34, verses 4 to 9. I sought the Lord, and he answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. The poor man called, and the Lord heard him. He saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you, his holy people. For those who fear him lack nothing. That reading, 34th Psalm, verses 4 to 9. And my dear friends, it's now, let's see, 1 minute after 10 o'clock. Thank you very much. That's where we're going to pull the curtain down on today's edition of Gudday Grenada. It's been a pleasure having you with us. And by his grace, let's see if we can get together again tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And yes, today is budget day. You can check that out on the government's website, www.gov.gd. God bless you, folks.